How's it going, everybody? This is BeatTheBush. Today, I'm going to talk about how you can escape your 9-to-5 job. If you guys are new to this channel, or maybe you're not new to this channel, you've just been watching my videos and haven't subscribed. Don't forget to click that subscribe button first, and then we'll continue. Seeing that I quit my job some time ago and then semi-retired, a lot of people look at these documentation of my personal life. They kind of look at it as something they want to mimic as well, and then they send me emails and let me know this. Today I'm going to talk about quitting your 9-to-5 jobs and the steps that you need to take to at least start your journey that way. To do this, as you guys know, I usually use myself as an example. I actually did this, therefore I can give you advice on what I actually did. Maybe you can mimic it the same way that I did. Maybe you can do it a slightly different way. But I want you guys to know that right when I started my career, right after I finished my master's degree, I just thought, hey, I'm gonna work forever, just like everyone else as an engineer. I'm gonna do it all the way to 65. I didn't think about, 30 years is really that long. But my normal mode generally is to save a lot. I did not always save as much as I am right now because I bought crazy stuff. I bought my car after all. So to be as specific as possible, I think I started thinking about early retirement roughly 3 years before I actually quit my job. When I found out about the FIRE movement, I just did my research and I go, oh yeah, okay, this is how it is. But then when I looked at the numbers, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to work so much. I need to save $500,000 at minimum. This is way more than I could actually save. So then I thought at best, it might take me 10, 15 years in order to do the same thing. So the fact that I was able to do this just 3 short years after I started thinking about this, able to quit my job and then to semi-retire. So this is completely amazing to me. I'm not saying that, it only took me 3 years going from zero to retirement. I had many of these years where I did not really know what I was doing. I was just saving for the sake of saving. I was like, okay, I'm gonna make all this money. I'm not going to spend too crazily. So then I ended up saving a lot, but certainly not as much when I actually tried to do it. So here it goes. Allow me to brag a little bit. I want to share this because there are parallels to this in my life in these big milestones where I hit semi-retirement or retirement, whatever you want to call it. I was also able to hit these crazy milestones without really trying. For example, in high school, I did very well. I just didn't really care about, being the valedictorian. And so I just kind of did as well as I could without trying to worry about, I need to get A's here, get the highest GPA. But then what happened was, 1 week before I graduated, someone, did the calculation and then they're like, hey, you know what, Francis, you're actually number 4. I'm like, what, really? Because, this is all without trying. Some people just kind of grumbled, they're like protesting because I was never the type of person where I keep on keeping track of every single test score. It's like, oh yeah, I gotta, beat the next person just to get up ahead in the first spot. The 3 people that preceded me, those are the type of people. They always, they're always super A students. They're like on the ball, but then me, I like cut class every once in a while. So then that's one instance where I kept on doing kind of what's right without really knowing what I was doing. And then at the end, somehow it worked well. I was just kind of heading that direction without a final goalpost. The same thing happened with me in my bachelor's degree where I was just working really hard. It's much easier to major in something that you really enjoy because when I was studying my electrical engineering, I really enjoyed it. I'm having fun learning the equations and stuff, although right now, it's not very applicable. But then what happened there was I was not really trying to go for honors. There's this thing where, if you rank the top 5% or something of the class, you get like cum laude, kumma cum laude, and summa cum laude as the biggest tier. I think I got kumma cum laude or something, the second one, not the biggest one. I think I might have gotten it if I did a pass or no pass on some of my English classes. This is how much I prepared for trying to get that honors thing. So was this a little brag? A little bit. I just wanted to share that sometimes you could be heading in the direction and not really concentrating on it and still be able to get there. So when I say 3 years to retirement from when I find out about this FIRE movement to actually retiring, it didn't really actually take me 3 years. Maybe if I concentrated on it much earlier, the total time would have been less. So let me talk about why it is so hard to quit your 9 to 5. Most of the time, People are just drained. I was personally drained. The first 3 years of my working career, I just had no time to do anything else. My whole life was devoted to improving my position in my career. I was trying to learn as much as possible, just every waking moment. Even when I go home, sometimes I would think about work, sometimes I might even study about work. So if you're in your career a bit, a lot of people can relate to this. If you're working your 9 to 5, you just don't have the energy to do anything else outside. I almost feel like this is by design. It seems like society as a whole tries to capture people so that you don't have any energy to do anything else. Because if you end up quitting your job, it's actually bad for the economy. Companies don't want you to quit because they train you. They want to use you as long as possible without training someone new. The 9 to 5 drains you so much and keeps you from making that extra income outside of work. In fact, some companies actually prohibits you from making any significant sources of income outside of work. You kind of have to do this on the down low. Another thing that people do not realize that keeps them at your 9 to 5 job is the typical rate of spending. If you have your 9 to 5, maybe you need to get a BMW to show off, to be like everyone else. You need to go out to lunches. You have influences from your coworkers to spend a little bit more. Every little bit where you're doing this keeps you working a little bit longer. Before you know it, because of this job, your expenses comes close to your income. Then you're not saving any money. Then you're never gonna reach your retirement goals. The trick, of course, over the long term is always to turn down your spending, increase your savings. A lot of people would comment, oh, okay, of course it's easier for you, Beat the Bush. You don't have a wife, you don't have kids, you work in a high-paying engineering career. Yes, all these does help. And I would say, if I was not in the engineering field, maybe I make half as much as a teacher or something, it would have taken me probably 10, 20 years to reach the same point. To me, there's two ways to quit your 9 to 5 job. The first way is to make so much money so that you can actually quit your job and not have any side gigs going. To me, this is super hard, and this is not the route that I took. You need to save $500,000, $1 million just from working alone, and this is incredibly difficult. Now, if you work for a unicorn company, sometimes you might be able to get a huge windfall from stock options, and yes, companies find out that if they pay their employees too much, soon they're gonna get retired, they're not gonna work for them anymore, and then suddenly they lost an employee. So sometimes there's the risk for them as a company. The second way to do it, which is the easier route, I think, is after your daytime job, you go home at night and you just start thinking, I'm gonna have a second job from this point on. In the morning, I work 40 hours. At night, I work another 40 hours. Nothing keeps you from actually doing this yourself because you actually do not work for another company as a second employee. If you try to do your own thing, maybe make a website or something, and you actually spend 40 hours doing so, I am sure you're gonna get some sort of traction within a year. So that's why I say it's incredibly difficult. I did it. It was hard. I remember some instances where I would come home and I would be tired from the commute because I commuted maybe 20 to 30 minutes on the way back. And I know people are gonna go, oh, 20, 30 minutes. This is nothing compared to my 1 hour commute. Okay, I get tired just from a 20 to 30 minute commute. So when I get home, I would just be kind of laying back like this and I'll be like, oh my gosh, so tired. And, I'm so tired that I can't lift myself, but then I would force myself to get up and produce these YouTube videos. If you look at my videos just from 2 years ago, those were the time where I actually had to do this. I would be laying there super tired and I'm like, no, I'm gonna command my body to get up. And this is what I did. It was incredibly difficult and took a lot of willpower out of me, but I did it. So if you want to escape your 9 to 5, you need to do something like this. If you only want to put in maybe 20 hours a week, well, it's going to take a little bit longer. So I thought, okay, why not, give it the most oomph that I can. Put 40 hours on my daytime job, put another 40 hours. This is doable. You can do this for a year or say. It's kind of like sprinting for a short duration. Just see it as the goal. And if the goal is actually quitting your job, and then you can just say, goodbye, everybody. Just keep on thinking about this. This is gonna be your fuel to keep on working so hard after work, after hours. You're like in the basement, you know, it's all dark, and you're working on your stuff, working on whatever, a novel, a book, YouTube videos, on your website. You can earn a whole bunch of money using these online platforms. Usually it starts very, very slow, and it takes really a whole year in order to gain traction. So this is your goal. I know I'm skipping a lot of different actual methods, you know, sources of income where you can go and actually work. But I'm concentrating more on the mentality of it because I feel like this is the most important. It actually does not matter where you're applying it. Just have the knowledge that you're trying to make some money out of it. Just don't do it for nothing. Also know that you should also pursue something that you actually like much more than your current job. I personally like my electrical engineering. I like developing products, and I still do. It's just that an actual job is not as much about developing actual projects than a lot more paperwork. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed this little discussion. Don't forget to give me a like, push that subscribe button, and ring that bell icon.